Have you ever looked at your bank account and felt that sinking sensation in your stomach? That moment when you realize money seems to be playing an elaborate game of hide and seek with you and winning every single time. You're not alone. Millions of people worldwide wake up each morning feeling like mere spectators in the wealth game, watching from the sidelines as others seem to score financial touchdowns effortlessly. Has this ever happened to you? You work diligently, follow all the conventional wisdom about saving and investing, yet somehow find yourself trapped in the same financial cycle month after month, year after year. That nagging feeling of financial inadequacy isn't just uncomfortable. It's a form of unnecessary suffering that millions endure silently, believing it's simply their lot in life. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. What if I told you that this struggle isn't because you're doing something wrong? What if the real issue isn't your work ethic, your intelligence, or even your financial habits? The truth might surprise you. Most people don't have a money problem at all. They have a word problem. Yes, you heard that correctly. The very language you use about money could be the invisible barrier keeping wealth at arm's length. Stay with me until the end, because I'm about to share something powerful, 3 specific words that have the capacity to attract not just thousands or even millions, but $500 million into your life. And no, this isn't about luck, chance, or some mystical magic trick. This is about tapping into the divine laws that govern abundance in our universe. The wealthy elite understand something that most financial advisors never mention. There's an energy that creates money, and it responds to specific language patterns. When you learn to command this energy, rather than beg for its attention, everything shifts. Money stops being something you chase and becomes something that chases you. What makes this approach different from everything you've tried before is that it doesn't require you to radically change your life, quit your job, or invest in risky ventures. It begins with reprogramming how you communicate with the universal forces that control prosperity. These 3 words create a vibrational shift so profound that the universe has no choice but to respond. You might be skeptical right now, thinking you've heard promises before. But the principles I'm about to reveal have transformed the financial destinies of countless individuals across all walks of life. People just like you who once felt trapped in financial quicksand, now experiencing abundance as their natural state. The question isn't whether these principles work. The question is, are you ready to step into your true financial power? Because once you understand how to properly use these 3 words, the transformation begins in ways you never imagined possible. Let me reveal something that might sound shocking at first. Your words are not just sounds coming out of your mouth. They're energetic blueprints that design your financial reality. Think about it. How often do you catch yourself saying things like, "I can't afford that. Money is so tight right now," or "I'll never get out of debt"? These aren't just casual observations. They're powerful declarations to the universe about the relationship you expect to have with money. Your mouth is essentially a creation device. Every time you speak about your finances, you're not describing your reality, you're creating it. This hidden truth explains why so many people remain stuck in the same financial patterns despite their best efforts to break free. They're working hard, physically, while simultaneously undermining their progress verbally. The universe operates on a remarkably simple principle that Joseph Murphy discovered decades ago. It doesn't argue with your declarations. It simply says, "Your wish is my command." When you constantly verbalize statements of lack and limitation, the universe doesn't judge those statements as negative. It simply registers them as your chosen reality and dutifully delivers more experiences that match that frequency. It's similar to standing in pouring rain while repeatedly shouting, "I hate getting wet," and somehow expecting to stay dry. The mindset shift required here isn't complex, but it does demand awareness of the invisible mechanics governing abundance. Your words aren't just describing your journey, they're paving the road ahead of you. This revelation isn't about positive thinking as a surface-level practice. It's about understanding the profound impact of your verbal vibrations on the fabric of your experience. The universe responds to energy, not to your conscious desires, and your words are among the most potent energy transmitters you possess. Consider the last time you complained about bills or expressed worry about money. That wasn't just an emotional release, it was a spiritual command sent directly to the cosmic ordering system. And here's where most people experience the disconnect. They want abundance, while simultaneously broadcasting the frequency of scarcity. The decisions you make about your language create ripple effects that extend far beyond momentary feelings. They establish the underlying pattern that determines which opportunities flow toward you and which remain invisible. Most people remain unaware of this dynamic, wondering why prosperity seems to grace some lives while bypassing others. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by explaining exactly how to reprogram your financial reality using 3 specific words that realign your energy with the frequency of unlimited wealth. These words act as a reset button for your subconscious programming, allowing you to finally escape the gravitational pull of past financial limitations. If this perspective on the power of your words is resonating with you, type "I command abundance" in the comments below. It's more than just a comment. It's your first step toward consciously directing your energy toward the wealth you deserve. You might be wondering, but I've tried positive affirmations before, and they didn't work. This is where the crucial revelation about manifestation begins to unfold. Many spiritual seekers find themselves in this exact predicament. They speak the language of abundance outwardly, while their internal landscape remains trapped in scarcity consciousness. This inner conflict creates a vibrational paradox that the universe simply cannot reconcile. Picture this. You're standing in front of your mirror, confidently declaring, "I am wealthy and abundant," while your mind simultaneously races with thoughts of unpaid bills, mounting debts, and financial uncertainty. This contradiction creates a split energy signal, like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. Your journey toward prosperity stalls before it even begins. The transformation we're exploring goes far beyond surface-level positive thinking. It requires a complete realignment of your conscious declarations and your subconscious programming. When these 2 powerful forces within you are synchronized, the manifestation process accelerates beyond what most people believe possible. This mindset revolution represents the hidden truth that separates those who merely speak about abundance from those who genuinely embody it. The wealthy elite understand that true manifestation power comes from vibrational coherence, when your words, thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are all broadcasting the same signal. Behind the scenes of every great fortune lies this fundamental principle. Wealth flows not to those who need it or even to those who want it, but to those who have aligned their entire being with its frequency. The good news is that this alignment isn't something you're born with. It's something you can cultivate through precise linguistic and energetic practices. The impact of mastering this alignment extends far beyond your bank account. When you harmonize your internal and external wealth frequencies, you experience a profound shift in how the world responds to you. Opportunities that once seemed inaccessible suddenly appear in your path. Resources you didn't know existed become available. Connections with precisely the right people manifest at exactly the right time. This is why I'm passionate about sharing the 3 specific words that can summon $500 million into your life. These aren't just ordinary words. They're energetic codes that, when properly activated, reprogram your entire relationship with abundance. They bridge the gap between merely speaking about wealth and genuinely becoming a vibrational match for it. What makes these three words uniquely powerful is that they address both sides of the manifestation equation. They reshape your conscious declarations while simultaneously repatterning your subconscious beliefs. They create the coherence necessary for the universe to respond with unprecedented abundance. I'm about to reveal these three transformative words. But first, I want to emphasize something crucial. This isn't about temporary financial gain. It's about permanent prosperity consciousness that continues generating wealth long after you've spoken the words. This is the difference between a momentary windfall and true financial freedom. If you're feeling a resonance with this deeper understanding of manifestation, type "I am aligned" in the comments section below. This simple act of declaration is your first step toward the vibrational coherence we've been discussing. Now, let me share something refreshing with you. Day. I value your time too much to fill it with endless theories and complicated spiritual jargon. The breakthrough I'm about to share doesn't require hours of meditation or complex visualization exercises. True wisdom often comes in concentrated form, like a single drop of essential oil that contains more potency than gallons of diluted liquid. This essence-based approach represents a paradigm shift in how we access our innate manifestation abilities. Most spiritual teachings bombard you with so much information that your mind becomes overwhelmed, making implementation nearly impossible. But transformation doesn't happen through information overload. It happens through strategic revelation that catalyzes immediate shifts in consciousness. I understand the journey you've likely been on. Perhaps you've diligently practiced affirmations, created vision boards, attended prosperity workshops, meditated on abundance, or performed countless rituals promised to open the floodgates of wealth. You've done everything right according to the spiritual playbooks, and yet your financial reality remains stubbornly unchanged. This creates a particularly painful form of disillusionment, not just with the techniques themselves, but with your own worthiness and capabilities. You begin to wonder, what's wrong with me? Why does this work for others but not for me? This spiritual fatigue becomes a heavy burden, often causing people to abandon their manifestation practice entirely. The untold story behind manifestation failures reveals a crucial insight. Most techniques address only the surface level of consciousness, while leaving the deeper programming untouched. It's like painting a house with structural damage. It might look better temporarily, but the foundation remains compromised. Let me assure you, your manifestation struggles aren't because you lack spiritual gifts or because you're somehow blocked. The revelation that changed everything for my clients was discovering that manifestation doesn't depend on doing more spiritual practices, but on aligning with a single, fundamental truth about how the universe responds to human consciousness. The awakening I'm guiding you toward doesn't require you to become someone different. It simply requires you to recognize and reclaim the innate power you already possess. This power has been dormant, not because you lack ability, but because no one has shown you how to activate it through precise linguistic calibration. Behind every financial breakthrough lies this critical insight. Wealth magnetism isn't about accumulating more techniques. It's about stripping away the contradictory signals that have been jamming your manifestation frequency. When you clear these signals through the three-word formula I'm about to share, your natural abundance attraction power automatically activates. The mindset revolution begins with understanding that your wealth potential isn't something you need to build. It's something you need to uncover by removing the limiting beliefs that have been masking it. This uncovering process starts with three simple yet profound words that realign your entire being with prosperity consciousness. If you've experienced this frustrating cycle of high hopes followed by disappointment in your manifestation journey, write "ready for clarity" in the comments. Your willingness to acknowledge this experience is the first step toward the breakthrough that awaits. The fundamental shift in your prosperity consciousness begins with understanding that clarity is power. Most spiritual seekers aren't struggling with a lack of techniques or tools. They're struggling with a lack of clear signaling to the universe. Think of it this way. Imagine calling a restaurant and placing an order for steak, then immediately calling back to change it to pasta, and moments later calling again to say you're not hungry at all. What would happen? The restaurant would be completely confused about what to deliver to you. This is precisely how most people communicate with the universe about wealth. One moment, they're affirming abundance and visualizing prosperity. The next, they're worrying about bills, complaining about prices, or feeling envious of others' financial success. These contradictory signals create a state of manifestation paralysis. The universe simply doesn't know which reality to deliver to you. The revelation that transformed my own relationship with money was discovering that the universe doesn't have preferences. It only has reflections. It doesn't judge your requests as good or bad, realistic or unrealistic, deserved or undeserved. It simply mirrors back to you the predominant frequency you're broadcasting. This mirror-like quality of universal law is both its greatest challenge and its greatest gift. Now, let's explore the quantum mechanics behind manifestation. Everything in existence, your phone, your body, the chair you're sitting on, and, yes, even money, is fundamentally energy vibrating at different frequencies. This isn't mystical speculation, it's scientific reality. The apparent solidity of our world is an illusion created by energy moving in specific patterns. The breakthrough insight that Joseph Murphy discovered through his decades of research is that money itself has a specific vibrational signature. It's not just a physical currency, it's an energetic entity that naturally gravitates toward matching frequencies. This explains the mysterious phenomenon we've all observed: how two people can encounter identical opportunities with wildly different outcomes. Consider this. Two entrepreneurs launch similar businesses with similar resources. One struggles continuously while the other seems to effortlessly attract clients, partnerships, and profits. The external circumstances don't explain this divergence. The internal frequency does. The successful entrepreneur isn't necessarily working harder, they're vibrating in alignment with prosperity consciousness. This energetic perspective revolutionizes your entire approach to wealth creation. Instead of focusing exclusively on external actions like working harder or implementing better strategies, you begin calibrating your internal frequency to naturally attract abundance. This doesn't mean practical action becomes irrelevant. It means that aligned action becomes exponentially more effective. The journey to financial mastery requires understanding this hidden dimension of reality where energy precedes matter, frequency determines attraction, and clarity creates consistent results. Your thoughts, emotions, and especially your words form an energetic blueprint that the universe uses to construct your physical experience of money. When you grasp the profound truth that wealth isn't something you chase, but something you resonate with, everything shifts. The desperate energy of pursuit dissolves, replaced by the magnetic energy of alignment. This is why sometimes the person who seems least concerned about money ends up attracting the most of it. They're operating from an entirely different vibrational framework. If this energetic understanding of money is illuminating for you, write "energy attracts wealth" in the comments. This acknowledgement signals your readiness to work with the quantum nature of abundance rather than just its physical manifestation. Let me share a profound insight that completely transforms the manifestation process. Your emotional state is not just a passive reaction to circumstances, it's an active creator of your reality. When you genuinely feel rich, grateful, confident, and joyful, you're not just experiencing pleasant emotions. You're literally tuning your energetic body to the same frequency that wealth vibrates at. This emotional dimension of manifestation reveals why some people seem to attract abundance effortlessly, while others struggle despite their best efforts. The person who feels wealthy before the money arrives is actually establishing the precise energetic conditions necessary for wealth to flow. Meanwhile, the person consumed with anxiety, desperation, and lack is inadvertently repelling the very prosperity they seek. Think of your emotional state as a broadcasting tower, constantly sending signals into the quantum field. Every feeling generates a specific frequency pattern, creating ripples in the universal energy that surrounds you. The emotion of gratitude doesn't just feel good. It actually emits a vibrational signature that naturally attracts more experiences worthy of gratitude. The same applies to confidence, joy, and the feeling of abundance. The breakthrough discovery in consciousness studies is that these emotional frequencies aren't just metaphorical, they're measurable energetic phenomena. Research in the field of psychoneuroimmunology has demonstrated that different emotional states produce distinct electromagnetic patterns that extend beyond our physical bodies. These patterns interact with the energy of everything around us, including the energy we call money. Now here's where language enters this quantum equation. While the universe responds primarily to your vibrational frequency, your words serve as powerful tools for establishing and maintaining that frequency. Think of words as tuning forks that help calibrate your emotional state to the precise vibration of wealth. The revelation that changed everything for my clients was understanding that language isn't just descriptive, it's creative. When you speak, you're not merely describing your reality. You're literally programming the quantum field that becomes your reality. This explains why Joseph Murphy placed such tremendous emphasis on the exact words we use when communicating with the universal mind. Behind the scenes of every great fortune is a carefully cultivated linguistic pattern that maintains consistent alignment with prosperity consciousness. The wealthy don't just think differently, they speak differently. They've intuitively understood that language shapes frequency, and frequency determines attraction. The mindset transformation begins when you recognize that your words aren't passive descriptions, but active creators. They're the software code that programs your subconscious operating system. When you upgrade this code with precise language patterns, you automatically upgrade your vibrational output. This linguistic dimension of manifestation explains why affirmations work for some people but not for others. The mere repetition of positive words isn't enough. The words must actually shift your emotional state to create vibrational change. When properly utilized, language becomes a bridge between your conscious intentions and your subconscious programming, allowing you to systematically elevate your prosperity frequency. Now, as I prepare to reveal the 3 exact words that can summon $500 million into your life, I want you to understand that these aren't magical incantations. They're precision tools for vibrational alignment. They work not because they're special in themselves, but because they catalyze the exact emotional frequency that wealth naturally gravitates toward. If you're beginning to sense the profound connection between your emotions, your words, and your financial reality, write "Vibration creates wealth" in the comments below. This acknowledgement signals your readiness to work with the deeper mechanics of abundance. The moment has arrived to reveal the 3 words that can literally transform your financial destiny. These 3 words might appear deceptively simple at first glance, but their impact on your consciousness, and therefore your reality, is nothing short of revolutionary. The exact words that summon $500 million are, "I am wealth." Yes, you heard correctly. Not I want wealth, not I will have wealth, not even I am wealthy, but I am wealth. The distinction here is subtle yet profoundly significant. This phrase isn't merely an affirmation, it's an identity declaration that fundamentally alters how the universe responds to your presence. The hidden truth behind these three words lies in understanding the creative power of the phrase, I am. In ancient wisdom traditions across cultures, the words I am were recognized as the ultimate creative force, the name of the divine itself. When you declare, I am, you're not simply describing your current state. You're invoking the very power that creates realities. This revelation transforms your approach to manifestation entirely. Most people use language to describe what they observe, but masters of consciousness use language to decree what will be. When you say, I am wealth, you're not making a statement about your current financial circumstances. You're issuing a command to the universal creative force about your fundamental identity. The breakthrough insight that Joseph Murphy discovered through decades of working with thousands of clients is that the universe doesn't respond to what you want, hope for, or even believe. It responds to who you are. And who you are is determined primarily by what follows the words I am in your conscious and subconscious mind. Think about it this way: the universe is essentially a mirror reflecting back to you your deepest identity. When you declare I am wealth, you're programming the quantum field to recognize and respond to you as the embodiment of abundance itself. You're not merely attracting wealth as something external to you, you're recognizing wealth as something intrinsic to your being. This identity-based approach to manifestation explains why so many conventional techniques produce disappointing results. Trying to attract wealth while maintaining an identity of lack creates an irreconcilable contradiction. It's like trying to be both hot and cold simultaneously, a physical impossibility. The journey of transformation begins when you make a fundamental decision to stop seeing wealth as something separate from yourself that you need to acquire, and instead recognize it as an expression of who you already are. This paradigm shift doesn't deny current financial circumstances. It simply places them in a new context, as temporary conditions rather than fundamental truths. What makes I am wealth so powerful is that it bypasses the conscious mind's tendency to argue and goes straight to the subconscious, where all lasting change occurs. Your subconscious doesn't analyze or question, it simply accepts and executes. When you consistently feed it the statement, I am wealth, it begins reorganizing your entire perception and behavior to align with that declaration. The remarkable impact of these three words isn't in their intellectual meaning, but in their vibrational resonance. They literally recalibrate your energy field to match the frequency of unlimited abundance. And when you vibrate at the frequency of wealth, wealth has no choice but to find you, regardless of current circumstances. If you're feeling a resonance with these three transformative words, type I am wealth in the comments. Remember, this isn't just an affirmation. It's a declaration of your true identity in the universal field of infinite possibilities. Now let me address the most common obstacle that prevents these three powerful words from working in people's lives. When you first declare, I am wealth, pay close attention to what happens. Internally, for most people, there's an immediate conflict, a small voice that whispers, no, you're not, or who are you kidding? This internal resistance isn't something to fear or feel discouraged about. It's actually a profound revelation about your current subconscious programming. This moment of discomfort represents the pivotal crossroads in your manifestation journey. Most people experience this contradiction and immediately conclude that the affirmation doesn't work or that they're doing it wrong. But the truth is, this resistance is precisely why you need these words. The discomfort you feel is the gap between your current identity and your emerging consciousness. It's the exact space where transformation happens. The hidden truth that few spiritual teachers discuss is that the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the energetic signal created by your deepest beliefs. You can repeat, "I am wealth," 1,000 times. But if your subconscious mind is programmed with scarcity, limitation, and unworthiness, those deeper patterns will override your verbal declarations every time. This explains why so many people grow frustrated with affirmations. They're speaking one language outwardly while their subconscious continues broadcasting an entirely different frequency. It's like trying to tune a radio to two stations simultaneously. The result is static rather than clarity. The breakthrough in your prosperity consciousness occurs when you recognize this resistance not as a sign of failure, but as a roadmap to freedom. When you feel that internal pushback against "I am wealth," you're actually identifying the exact limiting beliefs that have been blocking your abundance all along. This awareness is the first step in reprogramming your subconscious operating system. Try this experiment right now. Quietly say to yourself, "I am wealth," and observe what happens in your body and mind. Do you feel a contraction, a sense of falseness, a mental argument? Whatever arises is not a random reaction, it's your subconscious programming revealing itself. These are the very patterns that have been silently shaping your financial reality from behind the scenes. The journey of transformation begins with acknowledging this gap without judgment. Every master manifestor has faced this exact moment of discord, the critical juncture where your emerging identity confronts your established programming. What separates those who create extraordinary wealth from those who remain stuck is how they navigate this internal conflict. Instead of allowing doubt to derail your practice, use it as valuable feedback. Each moment of resistance is actually highlighting exactly where your consciousness needs upgrading. Think of these moments as your subconscious mind pointing directly to the locks that have been keeping your abundance contained. Now you finally have the keys. The mindset revolution occurs when you stop fighting this resistance and instead welcome it as part of your awakening. Rather than becoming discouraged when doubt arises, simply acknowledge it with compassion. There's that old programming again. Thank you for revealing yourself. This response disarms the doubt while maintaining your commitment to your new identity. If you've noticed this internal resistance when declaring "I am wealth," share your experience by commenting, "I'm breaking through resistance." Your acknowledgement of this natural part of the process helps others recognize they're not alone in navigating these waters of transformation. Now let me share a counterintuitive approach to dissolving this internal resistance. Most people make the critical mistake of arguing with their doubt, trying to convince themselves that they are worthy of wealth or that the affirmation is really true. This mental wrestling match only reinforces the very limitations you're trying to overcome. Remember, what you resist persists. The breakthrough strategy isn't to fight doubt, it's to gently but persistently outshine it with repetition. Think of your subconscious mind as a garden that's been growing weeds for decades. You wouldn't try to argue the weeds out of existence. You would simply continue planting new seeds until the healthier plants naturally crowd out the unwanted growth. This repetition strategy creates a profound neural transformation in your brain. Each time you declare "I am wealth" without fighting the accompanying doubt, you're establishing new neural pathways that eventually become your dominant thought patterns. Neuroscience calls this process self-directed neuroplasticity, the remarkable ability to physically reshape your brain through conscious attention. The mindset revolution occurs when you realize that doubt doesn't need to be eliminated before you can proceed. It simply needs to be consistently outnumbered. Even if your declaration feels 95% false and only 5% true at first, that 5% authenticity is the seed of your new Identity. With consistent nurturing, that percentage gradually shifts until the statement resonates as your natural truth. Let me share a practical ritual that has created extraordinary results for thousands of people on this journey of transformation. The first 60 seconds after you wake up each morning represent a unique opportunity to reprogram your subconscious mind. During this time, the barriers between conscious and subconscious are naturally thinner, making it the perfect moment to plant new identity seeds. Before checking your phone, before even getting out of bed, sit up comfortably and spend 60 seconds repeating, "I am wealth." But, and this is crucial, don't just mechanically recite the words. Feel them in your body. Imagine what it would feel like if wealth were as natural to you as breathing. Feel the confidence in your chest, the relaxation in your shoulders, the slight smile that comes with knowing you are fundamentally secure. The hidden power of this morning practice is that it establishes your energetic set point for the day. Just as a thermostat determines the temperature of a room regardless of outside conditions, this ritual establishes your prosperity consciousness as your baseline state. Throughout your day, you may encounter circumstances that temporarily pull you out of alignment, but this morning anchor point makes it easier to return to your wealth frequency. What makes this approach revolutionary is the integration of both declaration and embodiment. Most people either affirm without feeling or try to generate feelings without clear declarations. It's the synchronization of these two elements, precise language and authentic emotion, that creates the coherent energy field necessary for manifestation. The impact of this practice extends far beyond financial transformation. As you consistently align your identity with abundance, you'll notice subtle shifts in how you carry yourself, the decisions you make, and how others respond to you. This ripple effect creates a self-reinforcing cycle where external reality increasingly confirms your internal declaration. If you're committed to implementing this morning wealth ritual starting tomorrow, comment, "My morning begins with wealth." Your public declaration strengthens your internal commitment and connects you with others walking this same path of transformation. Now, let's explore how to weave this powerful declaration into the fabric of your everyday life. The morning ritual establishes your energetic foundation, but the real transformation occurs when "I am wealth" becomes your internal soundtrack throughout the day. Think of this phrase as a background frequency that continues playing even when your conscious mind is engaged with other tasks. The revelation that changed everything for my clients was discovering that mundane moments actually present the most powerful opportunities for reprogramming. When you're washing dishes, sitting in traffic, waiting in line at the store, or brushing your teeth, these ordinary activities provide perfect windows for identity reinforcement precisely because your conscious mind is partially occupied. During these everyday activities, the analytical part of your mind, the part that would normally argue with your declarations, is distracted, allowing your affirmation to slip past the gatekeeper of doubt and directly access your subconscious. These seemingly insignificant moments become potent portals for transformation when you consistently fill them with "I am wealth." The journey to prosperity consciousness involves recognizing that spiritual practice doesn't require special conditions or dedicated meditation sessions. The most powerful work happens in the midst of normal life, while you're folding laundry, walking to your car, or waiting for coffee to brew. These integrated practices create sustainable change because they become part of your lifestyle rather than something separate you have to make time for. What's happening behind the scenes during this process is nothing short of remarkable. Far from being delusional positive thinking, this practice engages what Joseph Murphy called divine psychology, the natural laws governing how your subconscious mind operates. Your subconscious doesn't analyze, argue, or evaluate. It simply accepts and executes instructions, particularly those accompanied by emotion. When you consistently feed your subconscious the statement, "I am wealth," it begins reorganizing your entire perceptual filter system. Think of your subconscious as a sophisticated search engine that's been programmed to find evidence confirming your dominant beliefs. When you change the search parameters from scarcity to abundance, it immediately begins scanning for confirmation of your new identity. This explains the seemingly miraculous coincidences that often follow consistent practice: unexpected opportunities, fortuitous meetings, sudden insights, or resources appearing just when needed. Your subconscious isn't creating these opportunities. It's simply becoming newly attuned to possibilities that were always there, but previously filtered out because they didn't match your old identity. The mindset revolution begins when you understand that this isn't magical thinking. It's working with the natural architecture of your consciousness. Neuroscience has confirmed what ancient wisdom traditions have taught for millennia. What you consistently focus on, literally, reshapes your brain through neuroplasticity, creating new neural pathways that eventually become your default perception. The transformation doesn't require believing something false about your current circumstances. It's about recognizing a deeper truth about your potential and directing your consciousness toward that expanded identity. This practice doesn't deny reality. It accesses a higher dimension of reality where you recognize yourself as an expression of the infinite abundance of the universe. If you're beginning to grasp how this continuous integration of "I am wealth" throughout your day can rewire your entire relationship with prosperity, comment "I am the soundtrack" below. This acknowledgement signals your understanding that transformation happens not in isolated moments, but in the continuous background frequency you maintain. Let me share a remarkable story that illustrates the practical power of this approach. A client of mine, a single mother working 2 jobs to make ends meet, was initially skeptical when I suggested the "I am wealth" practice. She laughed and said her bank account would strongly disagree with that statement. Nevertheless, she committed to a 21-day experiment, declaring "I am wealth" every morning and throughout her day. On day 3, something unexpected happened. She received a phone call about a bonus at work she wasn't expecting. By day 7, she found $300 in an old coat pocket she had completely forgotten about. Around day 12, a friend offered her a side project that perfectly matched her skills, and by day 21, she was offered a new position with a 30% salary increase. Was this all coincidence? Perhaps. But the pattern I've observed with thousands of clients suggests something more profound is at work. When you consistently align your identity with wealth, the universe begins rearranging circumstances to match that vibration. The remarkable journey isn't about creating something from nothing. It's about tuning into a frequency where abundance naturally flows. This reveals a fundamental revelation about manifestation that contradicts conventional wisdom. Most people believe the sequence works like this. First, your circumstances change, then you feel wealthy, and finally you become a wealthy person. But this approach has the entire process backward. True transformation follows this sequence instead. First, you feel wealthy regardless of circumstances. Then your identity shifts to embody wealth. And finally, your external reality reorganizes to reflect this new identity. This inside-out approach might seem counterintuitive or even irrational at first glance. After all, how can you genuinely feel wealthy when bills are piling up? The answer lies in understanding the quantum nature of reality, that your internal state creates your external circumstances, not the other way around. Your feelings aren't just reactions to your environment. They're creative forces that shape what you experience. Think of it this way. When you wait for external circumstances to change before you allow yourself to feel abundant, you're essentially telling the universe, "I'll believe it when I see it." But the universal law operates on the principle of, "You'll see it when you believe it." This reversal of conventional thinking represents one of the most profound mindset shifts in prosperity consciousness. The transformation begins when you recognize that feeling wealthy isn't about denying your current financial reality. It's about connecting with a deeper truth about your inherent abundance. It's about recognizing that circumstances are temporary, but your identity as an expression of infinite abundance is permanent. From this perspective, financial challenges aren't evidence of your limitation. They're simply temporary conditions that have yet to catch up with your new vibrational reality. This approach doesn't bypass practical action or financial responsibility. Instead, it creates a new, energetic foundation from which your actions become exponentially more effective. When you operate from wealth consciousness rather than scarcity consciousness, you make different decisions, notice different opportunities, and attract different experiences. If this revelatory approach to wealth creation resonates with your intuition, write "inside creates outside" in the comments. This acknowledgement signals your understanding of the fundamental principle that your internal state precedes and creates your external reality, not the other way around. Now, let me reveal one of the most profound truths about manifestation that changes everything. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. This revelation completely transforms your approach to creating wealth. Most people spend their lives wanting money, focusing on the absence of it, and wondering why abundance remains elusive. But desire alone creates a vibrational state of lack, not fulfillment. The universe responds not to your wishes or wants, but to your energetic signature, your beingness. When you merely desire wealth, you're broadcasting the frequency of not having, which ironically attracts more experiences of not having. This explains why wanting something intensely often pushes it further away rather than drawing it closer. The transformation begins when you shift from wanting wealth to embodying wealth consciousness. When you declare, "I am wealth," you're not describing a future condition you hope to attain. You're claiming a present identity that already exists within you. This isn't about deluding yourself. It's about accessing a deeper truth about your innate connection to unlimited abundance. This insight revolutionizes your manifestation practice because it reverses the conventional approach. Instead of waiting for evidence before you believe, you choose to believe first, and then the evidence appears as a natural reflection of that belief. This sequence feels counterintuitive to the logical mind, which wants proof before commitment, but it aligns perfectly with how universal law actually operates. Think of it this way. Your belief is the signal you send into the quantum field, and your experiences are the echo that returns. If you wait for the echo before sending the signal, you'll be waiting forever. The courage to believe before seeing physical proof is the ultimate act of creation. It's declaring your reality into existence rather than passively observing what already exists. Now, while the three words, "I am wealth," contain extraordinary power, they're not magical incantations that work in isolation. Think of them as seeds, perfect in their design but requiring specific conditions to flourish. Even the most potent seed needs fertile soil, consistent watering, sunlight, and time to grow into its full expression. The journey to $500 million begins with planting this identity seed, but its growth depends on how you nurture it daily. Belief provides the soil, your genuine conviction that these words represent truth, not fiction. Gratitude serves as water, your continuous appreciation for abundance that already exists in your life, regardless of its current scale. And inspired action is the sunlight, the practical steps you take when guided by your intuition. This holistic approach creates a congruent field where your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions all align with wealth consciousness. Most manifestation attempts fail because people focus exclusively on one element while neglecting the others, perhaps saying the right words while harboring contradictory emotions, or feeling abundant while taking actions rooted in scarcity. The mindset revolution occurs when you recognize that successful manifestation requires full spectrum alignment. It's not enough to speak prosperity while feeling poor or to feel abundant while making fear-based decisions. The universe responds to the totality of your being, not just the parts you consciously manage. If this holistic understanding of manifestation resonates with your intuition, write, "I am becoming wealth" in the comments. This simple act acknowledges your commitment to nurturing all aspects of wealth consciousness, not just reciting words. The profound truth that most wealth seekers miss is that abundance was never something you needed to chase, attain, or pursue in the first place. Wealth has always existed within you as your natural state. It was simply waiting for your conscious recognition and declaration. This perspective completely reframes your relationship with prosperity. Instead of seeing wealth as a distant destination you're struggling to reach, you recognize it as an inherent quality you're choosing to express. Think about how this shifts your entire approach to financial abundance. The conventional paradigm positions wealth as something external that must be captured through strategy, luck, or relentless effort. But this perspective creates an inherent separation between you and abundance, a gap that must be crossed through doing more, trying harder, or becoming someone different than who you naturally are. The revelation that Joseph Murphy discovered through decades of working with people from all walks of life is that this separation is an illusion. Wealth isn't something you acquire, it's something you express from within. This explains why some people with extensive financial education and sophisticated strategies remain stuck, while others with simple approaches but aligned consciousness create fortunes seemingly effortlessly. The transformation begins when you recognize that prosperity flows not primarily from what you do, but from who you are while doing it. This doesn't negate the importance of intelligent action, strategic thinking, or practical knowledge. Rather, it places these external factors in their proper context as expressions of your consciousness rather than creators of it. Consider how this insight completely revolutionizes your manifestation journey. When your focus shifts from obtaining something external to embodying something internal, the entire energy of your wealth creation changes. No longer are you operating from a place of lack, desperately trying to fill a perceived hole in your experience. Instead, you're operating from wholeness, allowing your inherent abundance to flow outward into visible expression. This mindset revolution explains why two people can implement identical financial strategies with dramatically different results. The person who takes action from a consciousness of "I need this to become wealthy" creates very different outcomes than the person who acts from "I am wealth" expressing itself through this activity. The external behaviors might look identical, but the internal states are worlds apart. Behind the scenes of every great fortune is this hidden principle. Money is magnetically drawn to those who embody wealth consciousness before physical wealth appears. It's not that these individuals are exempt from challenges or setbacks. Rather, they navigate those challenges from a fundamentally different identity, one that sees obstacles as temporary conditions rather than statements about their intrinsic nature. The journey to financial mastery isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you already are beneath the layers of limitation and scarcity programming. When you declare, "I am wealth," you're not creating a new identity. You're recognizing your original identity as an expression of the infinite abundance of the universe itself. If this perspective shift from pursuing wealth to acknowledging your inherent abundance resonates with you, share your thoughts by typing "Wealth lives within" in the comments. This simple acknowledgement signals your readiness to step into a completely different relationship with prosperity, one based on recognition rather than acquisition. Now, I want to go even deeper into the power of these three transformative words. When you declare "I am wealth," you're not begging the universe for prosperity or trying to convince some higher power that you're worthy of abundance. This declaration isn't a request, it's a command. It's not a hope. It's a recognition of what has always been true about your essential nature. This revelation completely transforms how you approach manifestation. Most spiritual seekers position themselves as supplicants, desperately hoping their prayers will be answered or their visualizations will somehow materialize. But this submissive posture actually broadcasts weakness and lack to the quantum field, creating a vibrational contradiction that blocks the very prosperity being sought. The breakthrough understanding that Joseph Murphy discovered is that the words "I am" carry the exact vibrational signature of divine creative power. When you utter "I am," you're not speaking as a limited personality. You're speaking from the unlimited consciousness that creates worlds. This isn't spiritual metaphor, it's energetic reality. The universe doesn't evaluate your words for accuracy or worthiness. It simply responds to their creative power. Think of it as the difference between knocking timidly on a door, hoping someone might answer, versus standing confidently in a room you already own. The energy is completely different. When you declare "I am wealth" with authority, you're not trying to manifest something new. You're commanding the universe to align with what's already true about your divine nature. This perspective revolutionizes your relationship with abundance. No longer are you approaching wealth from a place of need, lack, or separation. Instead, you're speaking from wholeness, completeness, and divine authority. This shift in consciousness creates an entirely different energetic signature that the universe must respond to according to spiritual law. The hidden truth behind all effective manifestation is that the universe doesn't respond to what you need, want, or even deserve. It responds to what you command from a place of aligned authority. When your declaration comes from this centered place of knowing rather than hoping, its power multiplies exponentially. Now, the journey toward your $500 million involves more than momentary declarations. It requires stabilizing this wealth frequency so thoroughly that no external circumstance can shake it. Think of this like tuning a radio to a specific station and then locking it in place so it can't be accidentally changed. When you've truly locked in the wealth frequency, temporary financial challenges don't throw you into scarcity consciousness. Unexpected bills don't collapse your prosperity identity. Market fluctuations don't shake your abundance certainty. This immovable inner stability creates a foundation from which genuine wealth can grow sustainably. Most people's manifestation efforts fail because their prosperity frequency fluctuates wildly based on external conditions. They feel abundant when money flows in and immediately crash into lack when challenges arise. This energetic roller coaster prevents consistent manifestation because the universe can't respond clearly to such contradictory signals. The transformation happens when your wealth consciousness becomes independent of circumstances, when you can maintain the vibration of "I am wealth," regardless of what your bank account temporarily shows. This is not denial or delusion, it's spiritual maturity. It's recognizing that temporary conditions don't define your essential nature any more than clouds define the sky they pass through. If this understanding of commanding rather than requesting resonates with your spirit, type "I command abundance" in the comments. This declaration signals your recognition that you're not a beggar in the universe, but a creator speaking with divine authority. Let me share a dimension of manifestation that's often overlooked yet profoundly impacts your results. Your physical posture. The body isn't separate from consciousness. It's a direct expression of it. When you declare, "I am wealth," while slouched, shoulders hunched, breathing shallow, your physiology contradicts your declaration, creating internal dissonance that weakens your manifestation power. The transformation begins with recognizing that energy flows where attention goes, but also where the body allows it to go. Before you even speak your morning wealth declaration, take a moment to align your physical vessel with prosperity consciousness. Sit upright with your spine straight but not rigid. Roll your shoulders back and down, opening your chest. Take 3 deep breaths, filling your lungs completely and exhaling slowly. Feel your body expanding, taking up space confidently. This embodiment practice creates a neurobiological shift that makes your affirmation exponentially more powerful. Research in embodied cognition has shown that physical posture directly affects hormone production, neural pathways, and emotional states. When you physically embody confidence and abundance, you're not just speaking about wealth, you're becoming the biological expression of it. The journey to prosperity consciousness involves recognizing that words alone are insufficient. True manifestation power comes from alignment across all dimensions of your being: mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. When your posture contradicts your declaration, you're sending mixed signals to both your subconscious mind and the quantum field. Now, even with perfect posture and clear declaration, you'll inevitably encounter the challenge of doubt. This is where most spiritual seekers derail their manifestation practice. They declare, "I am wealth," feel immediate doubt arise, and then enter into an exhausting internal argument, trying to convince themselves that the statement is really true. This mental wrestling match actually strengthens the very doubt they're trying to overcome. The revelation that changed everything for my clients was discovering that doubt doesn't need to be eliminated. It simply needs to be consistently outnumbered. Your mind cannot simultaneously hold 2 contradictory vibrations with equal intensity. When you persistently repeat, "I am wealth," without fighting the accompanying doubt, you're not engaging in denial. You're strategically shifting your dominant frequency. Think of it as adding drops of blue dye to a glass of red water. You don't need to remove the red. You simply keep adding blue until the red is no longer visible. Each time you declare, "I am wealth," without resistance, you're adding another drop of prosperity consciousness to your energetic signature. Eventually, the abundance vibration becomes so dominant that scarcity thoughts, while they may still occasionally arise, no longer have the power to define your experience. This approach completely transforms your relationship with doubt. Rather than seeing doubt as evidence of failure or lack of spiritual development, you recognize it as a natural part of the transformation process. The old programming making its final stand before the new identity fully establishes itself. When doubt arises, simply acknowledge it without judgment. There's that old thought pattern again, and then gently but firmly return to your declaration, "I am wealth." If this perspective on working with doubt rather than against it feels liberating to you, write "transcending doubt" in the comments. This acknowledgement signals your understanding that doubt isn't your enemy. It's simply an outdated program being replaced by a higher truth. Let me invite you to consider a powerful metaphor that transforms how you approach your thought patterns. Your mind is essentially a garden, a living, dynamic ecosystem where every thought you plant eventually bears fruit in your external reality. Just as a skilled gardener doesn't expect a beautiful landscape to emerge from neglect, you cannot expect prosperity consciousness to flourish in a mental environment overrun with the weeds of lack, limitation, and scarcity. The journey to wealth consciousness requires the same disciplined attention a master gardener brings to their craft. Each morning, when you declare, "I am wealth," you're planting a valuable seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious. But like any garden, a single day of attention isn't enough. The transformation requires consistent cultivation, weeding out thoughts that contradict your prosperity and nurturing the thoughts that align with abundance. This revelation explains why many spiritual seekers experience inconsistent results. They plant prosperity seeds on Monday, but then allow worry, doubt, and limitation to take root throughout the week. By Friday, their mental garden is once again overrun with weeds, and they wonder why their manifestation practice isn't working. The truth is that your thoughts, like plants, respond to consistent care and attention. Whatever you focus on most consistently will inevitably flourish in the garden of your mind. Now, I want to address a crucial misconception that derails many people on their manifestation journey: the belief that you must feel wealthy before affirming, "I am wealth." This puts the cart before the horse in the creative process. Many wait for the feeling of abundance before embracing the affirmation, not realizing that the emotional state is a result of consistent affirmation, not its prerequisite. The hidden truth behind successful manifestation is that emotions eventually align with the thoughts you consistently hold. This is the essence of neuroplasticity. Your brain physically rewires itself based on repeated mental patterns. When you first declare, "I am wealth," it might feel hollow or even triggering if your current circumstances reflect scarcity. This dissonance is perfectly normal and expected, not a sign of failure or inauthenticity. The mindset breakthrough happens when you recognize that feelings don't lead the manifestation process, they follow it. Continuing your declaration, even when emotions don't yet align, creates a powerful tension that eventually resolves not by abandoning the affirmation, but by your emotions shifting to match it. This is the transformative alchemy that occurs behind the scenes of every great manifestation. Think of it like learning any new skill. When you first attempt to play piano, your fingers feel awkward and the music sounds disjointed. The mastery doesn't come before practice. It emerges as a result of consistent practice. Similarly, the feeling of wealth doesn't precede your declaration. It emerges through your persistent alignment with the prosperity consciousness you're cultivating. This principle of emotional alignment, following mental focus, liberates you from the trap of waiting until you feel ready to embrace your abundant identity. You don't need to feel wealthy to declare, "I am wealth." You need to declare, "I am wealth" consistently until your emotional state naturally recalibrates to this higher frequency. If this insight about emotions following thought, rather than preceding it, resonates with your experience, write "Thoughts lead, feelings follow" in the comments. This acknowledgement signals your understanding of the true sequence of manifestation, a sequence that empowers you to create new emotional realities rather than remaining trapped by existing ones. Let me share a powerful transformation story that illustrates these principles in action. A woman in my community, I'll call her Rebecca, had spent decades struggling with finances. Despite working multiple jobs and constantly educating herself about money management, she remained caught in a cycle of barely making ends meet. Her financial story was marked by unexpected bills, emergencies that drained her savings, and opportunities that somehow always fell through at the last moment. When Rebecca first encountered the "I am wealth" practice, her initial reaction was skepticism bordering on anger. How can I possibly declare I am wealth when my bank account is overdrawn and I'm behind on my mortgage? She asked. Despite her resistance, something about the approach resonated with a deeper part of her, and she committed to a 30-day experiment. The first week was excruciating. Every time she said, "I am wealth," her mind flooded with contradictory evidence: the stack of unpaid bills, the repairs her car needed, the dwindling balance in her retirement account. But instead of fighting these thoughts, she simply acknowledged them and continued her declaration. By the second week, something subtle began to shift. The words still didn't feel completely true, but they no longer triggered intense resistance. Around day 17, Rebecca had what she later described as her breakthrough moment. While washing dishes and repeating "I am wealth," she suddenly felt a profound sense of peace wash over her, not because her financial circumstances had changed, but because she glimpsed for just a moment that her true identity existed beyond her temporary financial condition. The revelation wasn't intellectual, it was visceral, a knowing that transcended her current reality. Within days of this inner shift, external circumstances began rearranging themselves. A client she hadn't heard from in years reached out with a substantial project. A tax refund she'd forgotten about arrived in the mail. A friend offered her an opportunity to participate in a profitable venture that aligned perfectly with her skills. Within 3 months, her income had doubled, and more importantly, her relationship with money had fundamentally transformed. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring a crucial dimension of the wealth manifestation process that many spiritual teachers overlook: the power of releasing. The universe abhors a vacuum, and before new abundance can flow into your life, you must create space by releasing what no longer serves your highest expression. This isn't just about decluttering your physical environment, though that can be helpful. It's about emotional and energetic clearing. The journey to true wealth consciousness requires letting go of resentment toward past financial hardships, envy of others' success, guilt about previous money mistakes, and perhaps most importantly, attachment to your old financial identity. These emotions aren't just uncomfortable feelings. They're energetic anchors that keep you tethered to the very experiences you're trying to transcend. This process of releasing isn't about denial or suppression. It's about conscious acknowledgement, acceptance, and forgiveness. When you cling to the story of financial struggle, even as you affirm abundance, you create an energetic contradiction that blocks the very prosperity you're trying to attract. True transformation requires the courage to release not just negative emotions about money, but also the familiar identity that's been shaped by those experiences. If you're sensing that emotional baggage might be blocking your wealth manifestation, write "ready to release" in the comments. This simple acknowledgement signals your willingness to create the essential space that new abundance requires. Now, I want to go even deeper into the energetic mechanics of manifestation by exploring the role of your emotional state. The term emotion literally means energy in motion. These aren't just subjective feelings, but actual vibrational frequencies that ripple through the quantum field. The revelation that transformed my understanding of manifestation was discovering that different emotional states operate at different frequencies, and these frequencies directly impact how quickly your declarations materialize in physical reality. Think of emotions as the fuel that powers your manifestation engine. You can have the perfect vehicle, your affirmation, and the clearest destination, your intention. But without high-quality fuel, your journey will be slow and inefficient. Emotions like gratitude, joy, enthusiasm, and love vibrate at extraordinarily high frequencies, creating a powerful energetic momentum that accelerates manifestation exponentially. Conversely, emotions like worry, frustration, resentment, and fear vibrate at much lower frequencies, creating energetic resistance that slows or even blocks the manifestation process. This explains why two people can practice identical affirmations with dramatically different results. The person declaring "I am wealth" from a state of appreciation and excitement creates a completely different energetic signature than the person making the same declaration from a state of anxiety or desperation. The transformation begins when you recognize that cultivating specific emotional states isn't just a pleasant side effect of spiritual practice. It's a crucial component of effective manifestation. Your declaration, "I am wealth," becomes exponentially more powerful when accompanied by the high-frequency emotions that naturally align with prosperity consciousness. This isn't about suppressing authentic feelings or forcing toxic positivity. It's about consciously cultivating the emotional states that support your desired reality. Now, here's a crucial insight that revolutionizes how you approach the manifestation of $500 million. The specific number matters far less than the feeling essence behind it. Many spiritual seekers become fixated on the external form of wealth, the exact dollar amount, the specific possessions, the particular lifestyle. But this focus on form actually creates energetic limitation that restricts the universe's response. The breakthrough approach involves focusing on the essential feelings that wealth represents to you. Perhaps it's freedom, security, peace, generosity, or joy. When you declare, "I am wealth," don't visualize a specific bank balance. Instead, immerse yourself in the emotional essence of what abundance means in your experience. Feel the expansiveness, the ease, the freedom, the security, the joy of knowing your needs are abundantly met. This essence-focused approach opens the quantum field to deliver your manifestation through infinite pathways rather than the limited channels your logical mind might conceive. The universe responds to the emotional frequency you broadcast, not the mental picture you create. When you focus on essence rather than form, you allow universal intelligence to orchestrate circumstances, connections, and opportunities that your limited perspective couldn't possibly imagine. Behind the scenes of every remarkable manifestation is this principle of emotional alignment with essence. The most powerful creators aren't those who can visualize the most detailed pictures. They're those who can generate and maintain the highest vibrational states that match the essence of what they're creating. If this distinction between focusing on numbers versus focusing on the essential feeling of wealth resonates with you, write "feeling is the secret" in the comments. This acknowledgement signals your understanding that emotional essence, not mental specificity, is the true accelerator of manifestation. Let's explore a powerful practice that elevates your "I am wealth" declaration from mere words to embodied reality. Close your eyes right now, unless you're driving, of course, and allow yourself to step into a vivid mental experience of your ideal environment. Perhaps you're walking through a beautiful home with soaring ceilings and abundant natural light. Maybe you're sitting on the terrace of your beachfront property, feeling the gentle ocean breeze against your skin. Or perhaps you're in your office, signing documents that fund causes close to your heart. Whatever environment represents wealth consciousness for you, immerse yourself fully in this vision. Feel the textures, the smooth marble countertop beneath your fingertips, the plush carpet under your feet, or the fine pen in your hand as you sign that generous donation check. Breathe in the scents that surround you, fresh ocean air, the subtle fragrance of success. Most importantly, feel the emotions, the deep satisfaction, the profound peace, the natural confidence that comes from knowing you are wealth in human form. This visualization practice isn't just pleasant daydreaming, it's strategic, neurological rewiring. Each time you engage in this mental rehearsal, you're literally creating new neural pathways that support your wealth identity. Your brain doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual physical experiences. Both create similar neural patterns that shape your perception and behavior. The transformation occurs as these visualization sessions make your new identity increasingly familiar to your nervous system. What initially feels foreign or even impossible gradually becomes your new normal through consistent Mental rehearsal. This explains why Olympic athletes visualize their perfect performance hundreds of times before competition. They're programming their nervous system to naturally execute what they've repeatedly rehearsed mentally. Now, I want to address a critical dimension of manifestation that many spiritual teachings overlook: the essential role of inspired action. True prosperity consciousness isn't passive, it's dynamically engaged with life. When you consistently declare, "I am wealth," and align with that vibration, the universe responds not just with circumstances, but with inspired ideas, subtle nudges, and intuitive guidance that show you the next steps on your abundance path. The journey to $500 million requires both spiritual declaration and physical participation. Faith without works remains purely conceptual, like designing a beautiful house, but never breaking ground to build it. The most powerful creators understand that manifestation operates through partnership. You provide the consciousness, and the universe provides the pathway, often in the form of intuitive nudges towards specific actions. These divine nudges might appear as a sudden impulse to call someone you haven't spoken with in years, an idea for a new project that excites you, or even a book that seemingly jumps off the shelf at the bookstore. These aren't random occurrences. They're universal intelligence responding to your prosperity declaration with precise guidance for its physical manifestation. The mindset revolution occurs when you recognize that these nudges aren't separate from your affirmation. They're its natural extension into the physical realm. Following inspired action doesn't mean you don't trust your declaration. It means you're fully participating in the co-creative process that brings it into tangible reality. If this understanding of visualization and inspired action resonates with your intuition about manifestation, write vision plus action in the comments. This acknowledgement signals your recognition that true manifestation requires both internal alignment and external engagement. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing perhaps the most powerful catalyst for rapid manifestation: gratitude in advance. Most people wait until their desires materialize before expressing thankfulness. But masters of consciousness understand that genuine gratitude before physical evidence appears is the ultimate demonstration of faith in action. When you sincerely thank the universe for your 500 million as if it has already arrived, you create a powerful, energetic blueprint that accelerates manifestation. This isn't pretending or engaging in magical thinking, it's acknowledging the quantum truth that everything exists first in the energetic realm before it appears in physical form. Your genuine gratitude actually helps collapse quantum possibilities into tangible reality. Think about what happens internally when you shift from hoping and wanting to sincerely thanking. Your entire vibrational signature transforms. Hoping carries the energy of separation and uncertainty. Maybe it will come, maybe it won't. But gratitude carries the energy of completion and certainty. It is already done. This certainty creates a resonant field that magnetizes the very experiences you're giving thanks for. The revelation that changed everything in my manifestation journey was discovering that gratitude in advance isn't just a spiritual nicety. It's a precise scientific tool for quantum creation. When you thank the universe for your wealth before seeing physical evidence, you're not being delusional. You're operating from a higher dimensional awareness where time is non-linear and all possibilities exist simultaneously. This practice completely transforms your relationship with the manifestation process. Instead of anxiously monitoring for results and wondering when your declaration will work, you rest in the peaceful certainty of completion. This state of peaceful completion itself broadcasts the exact frequency that allows your desire to materialize with remarkable synchronicity and grace. Now let me share a structured approach that integrates everything we've explored into a powerful 21-day wealth reprogramming protocol. For the next 3 weeks, commit to declaring, "I am wealth," every morning upon waking and every night before sleeping. But, and this is crucial, don't simply recite the words mechanically. Infuse your declaration with feeling. Embody it physically with confident posture, and immediately follow it with genuine gratitude. Thank you for my unlimited abundance. Thank you for the continuous flow of prosperity in my life. Additionally, take one inspired action each day that aligns with your wealth identity. This might be organizing your finances, researching investment opportunities, upgrading your skills, connecting with prosperity-minded individuals, or simply treating yourself with the respect and care that wealth consciousness naturally includes. Each action, however small, serves as a physical anchor for your energetic declaration. The brilliance of this 21-day approach lies in its integration of all essential elements: clear declaration, emotional alignment, advanced gratitude, and inspired action. This creates a coherent field where your entire being, mind, emotions, energy, and physical behavior aligns with prosperity consciousness. Such coherence exponentially amplifies your manifestation power. The transformation journey isn't always linear. You might experience days where doubt feels stronger than faith, or where old scarcity patterns resurface with intensity. This is not failure. It's simply the natural recalibration process as your consciousness shifts to a new baseline. When these moments arise, double down on your practice rather than abandoning it, recognizing that resistance often intensifies just before breakthrough. If you're ready to commit to this 21-day wealth identity revolution, write "I commit to 21 days" in the comments. This declaration isn't just for others to see. It's a powerful commitment to yourself that activates the universal principle of integrity, where your words and actions align completely with your highest intentions. As we draw this conversation to a close, I want to acknowledge the journey we've taken together through the profound power of these 3 words. The fact that you've stayed with me until this point tells me something important. You recognize that wealth isn't just about money. It's about embracing your true identity as an expression of unlimited abundance. If this message found its way to you today, it wasn't by accident. The universe has its own perfect timing, and clearly you were ready to receive this wisdom. The transformation has already begun within you, simply through your receptivity to these truths. If you found value in these insights and want to continue exploring the deeper dimensions of prosperity consciousness, subscribe to join our community of conscious creators. Each week, we dive into these powerful principles that transform not just your finances, but your entire experience of reality. I'd love to know that this message reached you personally. If these ideas resonated with your spirit, simply write, "I am the wealth I seek," in the comments. Your declaration doesn't just connect us, it anchors your new identity in the visible world. If this journey together has expanded your understanding of manifestation, leaving a like creates a beautiful energetic exchange between us. It's a small gesture that signals to the universe your openness to receiving more of this wisdom. Right here beside this video is another exploration that takes these prosperity principles even deeper, revealing how to apply this same approach to transform not just your finances, but your relationships, health, and spiritual connection. Click there and let's continue this transformative journey together. The universe is already responding to your new declaration. I'll meet you on the other side.